everyone, and welcome back to another episode. And today I have a prolific runner with me, having ran Mario Party 2 with Pirate Level, Western Land, Space Land, Horror Land. By the way, that's Pirate Land, not Pirate Level. First place in Horror Land, first place in Pirate Land, as well as running Say No More, Lumberjack, Star Fox Guard, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Unpacking, and Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3, Rebel Strike, Luke any percent world record in Star Fox, Star Wars, Say No More, as well as a triple clean sweep of Lumberjack. Miss Happy Bear, how are you doing today?
I am just fine, Abby. I'm doing so well, and this is the first time that anyone has ever introduced me as being a prolific Mario Party 2 speedrunner. That is not something that I expected. So thank you for highlighting that portion of my oeuvre. But yeah, it's great to be on your show. Thanks for inviting me.
You're quite welcome. So I have to ask, what got you into speedrunning?
Well, like a lot of people, I was introduced to speedrunning through summoning salt. So, if you can picture June 2019, the world was a very different place then. But in fact, I was a very different person. I hadn't started transitioning yet. So, I'm sitting in my apartment just kind of watching random YouTube videos, and all of a sudden I get recommended this one called Choco Mountain: History of Mario Kart's Most Infamous Track. And I'm like, all right, this looks interesting. I'm a Mario Kart 64 fan. So I start watching it, and Abby, I was just blown away. It was so like it was unlike anything I had ever seen before on YouTube. So I immediately watched all of Summoning Salt's other videos, and I was like, this speedrunning thing, that's pretty cool.
So what was it about this Cocoa Mountain video that blew your mind specifically?
Yeah, I think it was just the revelation that Choco Mountain on Mario Kart 64 had been so utterly and completely broken. I it was just a shock to me. I mean, I knew that there were some video game glitches. Of course, I'd grown up with cheat codes on different games, but this idea that you could take the architecture of a game and completely just shatter it and basically make it into whatever you wanted, that was unreal to me. That was like I say, a revelation, honestly.
That's quite fair. So after you did the Cocoa Mountain video, you continued to watch these videos. Tell me about that experience on continuing to watch them and sort of how it influenced you to start speedrunning.
Yeah, so I once 2020 rolled around, I started kicking around the idea of getting into speedrunning myself and also starting to do my own YouTube videos or rather YouTube videos about speedrunning. And it took me about I would say another 9 months. I ended up moving. I was living in Colorado at the time, and I ended up moving to Iowa to take another job. And so once I moved there, kind of got settled in. I was working from home, so I didn't have to worry about commute time or really getting ready for work in the mornings or anything like that. So I had a lot more time, and I thought, I think I can start speedrunning myself, and maybe I want to get into doing my speedrunning videos, just like Salt's. But I decided that the way I was going to differentiate my channel, my YouTube channel, was I was going to focus on individual speedrunners, kind of doing little biographical videos of them. And no one else on YouTube was doing that at the time. I've seen one or two other channels start doing it since I started, but I ended up interviewing Darbian, who is one of the most legendary speedrunners out there. He's done Super Mario Brothers. He's the world record holder for a long time. And he's done what else has Darbian done? He's done Cool Spot. He did a lot of that. He's done Mario the Lost Levels. He was world record holder in Mario 3D World for a while. So he's done a lot of Mario stuff. And so I got to talk to him for about an hour. It was like talking to Michael Jordan. It was so neat. And he's an interesting guy. He's really down to earth, which I like. But anyway, so February 2021, I put out my first video, which was about Darbian, and so that has really helped to connect me to speedrunning quite a bit. But as far as my own speedrunning career, I tried a few different games to speedrun at first. I tried Cruisin' USA, which if anyone has ever played that for the N64, it is an absolutely brutal arcade style racer.
It is
It's
also incredibly like the frame rate just tanks for that version. So if you ever find the arcade cabinet, which I have, completely different game in terms of performance.
good to know. Yeah, the N64 version, the frame rate isn't that great, and yeah, it was too hard for me to want to speedrun. I just didn't enjoy it that much. I tried Wave Race Blue Storm, which is a really fun game, but just I was having a hard time getting it, being successful with it for the few hours that I tried it. There's one other one that I tried as well. I'm trying to remember. It seems like there's a third game that I worked on, and it wasn't really working. And so finally, I decided I am going to try Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which was a game that I had played a few years earlier and really enjoyed. I don't remember exactly what attracted me to it as a speedrun, but I kind of just wanted to play it again, and it felt good to do that.
Was this the Wii U version that you started with, or was it the Switch one that you started with?
So I had played the Wii U version a few years before, but I had bought the Switch version to start speedrunning. And having played both, having speedrun both now, I like the Switch version for speedruns a lot more. But they're both fun. But I started speedrunning this January 2021, and I believe I got my 128.18, which is my PB, by May. So it took me about 4 months to get to a really high level of performance with the game, and I'm quite proud of that 128. I really worked hard for it, and after that, then it was just the sky was the limit, you know. And so I did start getting into things like Mario Party 2, Rogue Squadron, and then of course more recently Lumberjack and games like that. I really enjoy speedrunning kind of more indie style games. I am learning Link's Awakening Switch speedruns right now, which is really fun. But I really tend to gravitate more towards those little games that are super fun to just learn and route, and not a whole lot of people are doing them. And that's probably, other than Link's Awakening, my next speedrun is going to be something similar. So looking forward to that.
Very nice. And take me through like your process of how you decide a game. I know you just said that you like to pick the sort of indier titles, but according to your speedrun.com page, it says that your first game was Star Fox Guard. So take me sort of through like your process, and also what are sort of your initial goals for your run when you pick one.
Yeah, that's a good question. So my first criterion for choosing a game is, am I going to have fun speedrunning this? Because I stream, I have a Twitch channel. You can find me at HappyBear Lives. And if I'm going to be streaming this, then I want it to be fun. I don't want to be sitting there and not having fun with the game. I watch a lot of speedrunners, and sometimes it just really feels like they're not having fun with the game. Sometimes it feels like they're just obligated to play it because they think that's what their audience wants or something like that. And I never want to fall into that trap. So number one, is it going to be fun? Number two, I gravitate towards more movement-based speedruns. So that's definitely what Captain Toad is. There's not a lot of complicated glitches or button inputs or anything like that. It's just you going fast and really having to lock down the route tightly as far as the movement. That's something that really appeals to me. And I know that that's not the case for everyone. Some people really love those glitches and being able to break a game as much as they can. But I tend to gravitate more towards glitchless categories. So the category I'm learning right now for Link's Awakening is any percent glitchless. I don't like my speedruns to be more than 2 hours. And this is totally in opposition to someone like Nuki Dog, for instance. Nuki is wild. She regularly does runs that are like 6, 7, 8 hours. I think she's even attempting like a 17-hour speed run pretty soon.
Oh dear.
Yeah, she is an animal. No pun intended from her username, but I don't really vibe with that. I like to be able to have a run over and done with within 2 hours. I think that's one of the reasons why Captain Toad appealed to me so much is because the run is about an hour and a half if you're doing it at a high level, and that if you're streaming, that allows for 2 or 3 attempts, 2 or 3 full runs, and that feels cozy to me. So I would say fun, and then whether it's primarily movement based or not, and then I don't like runs that are super RNG heavy. So Abby, I know we were talking about this a day or two ago, but I never ended up submitting an all boards Mario Party 2 run because it was just so RNG heavy. I hated it. I may go back to it eventually because I did kind of like doing the boards,
Mm-hmm.
the individual boards, but the all boards, it just felt pretty overwhelming, and it's like a 5 hour run. So you could be 4 hours into the run and then get some bad RNG, and then you're out of luck. So yeah, I
Very fair.
definitely prefer the slightly shorter runs.
And speaking of Mario Party shorter runs, have you thought about doing a mini game coaster for two then?
I haven't really. I don't love the minigame coaster mode, actually. A lot of what makes Mario Party fun for me is the boards and just kind of seeing all the random events that happen and things like that. But maybe I'll go back to it eventually. Some of those mini games are really difficult on harder levels too. So maybe Abby, I'm just really a coward as far as speedrunning goes, and I just gravitate to things that I don't have to put a lot of effort into. But
I wouldn't say
yeah,
that. Star Wars looks rather difficult. I know
yeah.
nothing about the Star Wars run, but Star Wars games tend to do lean into the difficult side of things.
You are right about that, and it's why I've never gone back to Rogue Leader is because there is one level in the Rogue Leader run that is so absurdly hard that it just is not fun at all. There's like 10,000 turbo laser bolts flying around the entire time, and it's absolutely brutal. So you're right. That one was not easy. That was a very hard thing that I did, but I'll never go back to that run again.
Fair, and slash unfortunate because it looks like a good run. Again, I've never played three. I've only played one and two. I played one the most out of that trilogy. Of course, the trilogy is N64 for the first game, GameCube for two and three. But what's the shortest run you think you would ever do? I know that you have run a run that only lasts about 51 seconds, but is there a limit for how short of a run you'd do?
Yeah, remind me, Abby, which run is that? I should have looked at my all the runs I've done before.
That is unpacking any percent year 1997 no touchscreen Dark Star.
That's right. That's right. Dark Star speedruns for unpacking are pretty fun because all you have to do is just dump all of the main character's possessions onto the ground, and you have to put everything in the wrong place. The Dark Star playthrough of unpacking is actually quite fun and a little bit mischievous, but yeah, I would say that. I mean, I don't have a theoretical lower limit, but probably anything less than 30 seconds would be a little bit, I don't know, just kind of boring for me. Just when you get below 30 seconds, then there's not much to it. Darbian did do some dragster speedruns. In fact, Summoning Salt has done some dragster speedruns for the Atari, and that, I think world record for that is under 6 seconds. But I don't think I would find that very interesting just to do over and over for like an hour. But I could see myself doing like some Super Mario Brothers speedruns. 5 6 minutes, and I get that time down. I think it'd be really fun to sub 5 Super Mario Brothers for sure.
Very fair. So, is there, this kind of goes back to an earlier thing that you were talking about. Was there a game that you regret running or a game you wish you continued to learn?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm pulling up my profile right now. Games that I regret running. All of my full game runs, so Lumberjack, Say No More, Captain Toad, Unpacking, Rogue Squadron, Star Fox Guard. I don't regret any of those. I wouldn't do Rogue Squadron 3 again, but I don't regret that one. I had a good time with it. As far as level runs, I think the only thing I regret doing is probably Mario Party 2 all boards. That one kind of sucked, honestly. I yeah, I don't I kind of wish I hadn't done that just because I did it on Memorial Day 2021, and it took me so long to try to get attempts going. By the time I finally gave up on it, then like half the holiday was gone, and I was so mad.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I honestly I don't really regret a lot of the speedruns I've done. I guess I would say Cruising USA. That one did suck. Yeah, I would say Cruising USA for sure. I don't even regret Wave Race. That one was the graphics on the game are beautiful too. For 2001 GameCube game, it still holds up in my opinion. I will
Hmm.
defend that game all day. But yeah, I'll say Cruising USA is probably one that I regretted. And then sorry, Abby, what was the other part of your question? What's one that I would like to do?
No, what was a game that you wish you continued to learn? So a game that you had started to learn, but maybe like stopped at some point.
Yeah, I don't. I think I've followed through pretty well with my different speedruns. If I don't end up doing Link's Awakening any percent glitchless, that will be a regret. But I think I'll be able to push through on that one and keep doing it. So yeah, I don't really have any regrets so far, but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Okay, that's very fair. And the follow-up question to that one is there a game you're looking forward to running? Obviously, Link's Awakening would probably be one of those.
Yeah, Link's Awakening. I have a list. I have a couple in mind, but I want to see if there's one that I'm forgetting. All right, here we are. I really want to get into doing Hat in Time speedruns, but yeah, I think a Hat in Time would be interesting. I'm looking at maybe going back to Star Wars games. I really want to try Battlefront speedruns, not the newer Battlefront games, but the older ones. I love those. I have put so many hours into those two games. I think it would be so fun to learn to speedrun them. And I do want to go back and pioneer a couple Star Fox Guard categories. So any percent New Game Plus and 100% would be great. I'm also looking at getting into Knights of the Old Republic speedrunning. I
Ooh.
I love that game. That's probably it's easily in my top 5, maybe top 3. I've been enchanted with that game for like 20 years. And I'm thinking again, in keeping with my preferences, I think any percent no major glitches would be an easy one to get into. I've heard that that is the most beginner friendly. There's a few smaller glitches that you do to save some time, but otherwise you just kind of go through the game and beat it as fast as possible. And there's a lot of movement tech with it, and that sounds like a good way into that game for me. So yeah, I have a lot of big plans as far as the speedruns I want to do, and
Very nice.
yeah, I hope that I can do at least some of those in the new year.
Nice. Have you decided which version of KOTOR you would do?
Yeah, probably the PC version. I think the Switch, it's a bit more of a struggle to do some of the tech on, and I don't have an original Xbox, so it might be available to download on the Xbox Store though. But
It is.
okay, good to know. But yeah, I for that game, I think PC would be much the easiest version to tackle. So I'll be looking at the PC version for sure.
Very nice. And have you thought about ever doing a Mario Kart?
I have thought about doing Mario Kart 64 actually. I think it'd be fun to try to get the Weather Tanko. For anyone who might be listening that doesn't know what that is, it's basically the Choco Mountain trick where you boost up the side of a mountain in a particular way at the start of the track, in such a way that you can complete a lap in about 5 seconds doing it. In fact, I think world record is just under 3 seconds for the single lap. So I think it'd be super, super fun to tackle that, but it'd be very hard. So I also don't have it on N64. I do have it on Wii U Virtual Console, and I'm not sure how different that speedrunning on Virtual Console would be, but I know that Virtual Console is kind of looked down on in that community, so I don't know if I'll tackle that or not, but we'll see.
Fair enough. And do you have any event rituals?
Any events rituals? Boy, that's a good question. I think my only one is well, I have two actually. So I do like to wear a speedrunning type T-shirt. So like a Games Done Quick one, or Frame Fatales, or Lady Arcaders. And then my other one is every time I do a speedrun in an event, I at least for GDQ or Frame Fatales ones. So a really good speedrunning friend of mine gave me a necklace, one of her necklaces, right when I first came out as trans and started transitioning publicly. And so I like to wear that necklace from this fatale friend of mine, just to remind me of the sisterhood that a lot of female speedrunners have with each other. And it just kind of helps me to stay loose and focus on what really matters. You know, if I don't do well in an event, everyone gets marathon luck once in a while, and I've certainly gotten that. It just helps me to remember, hey, there's things bigger than what you're doing right now. Of course, you want to do well, but it's okay. So
Yes, including being able to dance through a Captain Toad level and complete it successfully.
yeah, the beat block Sky Plaza, that's a very very fun one to try to dance through for sure.
I believe there's a clip of that somewhere on YouTube and Twitter. I may link it down below when we get there if you are watching this on YouTube. I don't think I can link things on other platforms, but I know on the YouTubes I can link it so that you can see the amazing trick of Happy Bear dancing through an entire level and not dying.
Good times, good times. Yeah, it's hard. I've died occasionally, but it's definitely a fun thing to be able to do during a speed run.
Yes. Is there anything you would like to promote by chance?
Anything I want to promote? Well, yeah, I do. So first of all, my Twitch channel, as I mentioned, you can find me at Happy Bear Lives, twitch.tv/Happy Bear Lives, and we're almost to 300 followers, which is something I never ever thought would be possible. My channel's really growing right now, and I'm really happy and excited about that. Other than that, definitely my YouTube channel. You can find me there at Happy Bear. I'm hoping that my next video is going to go up tomorrow night, but I have 5 videos on there right now. So we have the Darbian one. I did one on the history of Animal Crossing New Leaf speedrunning, which is really interesting and quite competitive, actually.
Have you thought
Uh,
about running that one?
I have, as a matter of fact, Abby. Yeah, New Leaf. It is on my list at some point. I don't have a 3DS capture card, but I am thinking about getting one at some point. My third video is on Indy Kenobi, the legendary Knights of the Old Republic speedrunner. He is the father of like 4 different speedrunning communities. So he's a founding father of KOTOR, Phoenix Wright speedrunning, the 999 games, a series of puzzle games, and Skyward Sword. Actually, Indy, as far as I can find out, was the first person ever to do a 100% run of Skyward Sword. So he's actually quite influential in the Zelda speedrunning community as well. So I did a really cool video on him, and then I did one on overlooked Super Mario Brothers categories of speedrunning. So there's like one-handed, there's dashless, where you just have to walk for the entire time. There's a few other just really fun, goofy categories like that. And then my latest video, the one that came out in June, is just on the weirdest speedruns of all time. And we go through the Typing of the Dead, we go through extreme sports with the Bernstein Bears. We just go through quite a few games like that are just very silly but fun speedruns. So if you're interested in speedrunning content, the next video that I'm coming out with, hopefully tomorrow, it's actually going to be about summoning salt. It will be part 1 of my documentary on him. I'm splitting it into 2, just to try to maybe get a little bit more engagement, and also make sure that I get another video out this year. And I'm super pumped about it. So I hope that everyone will subscribe to my YouTube channel and do all that good stuff, because we've got some good stuff building there, and definitely on my Twitch channel. So yeah, it's a good time to be Happy Bear right now.
Hooray! Yes, it certainly is. Thank you for being here. I super appreciate you coming on to do this.
Yeah, of course. Happy to come on, and excited that you're doing this podcast. This is super super fun.
Hooray! Yes, and what's your schedule like for streaming, by the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a set schedule necessarily. I do shoot for Sunday. Sundays and Fridays are usually my speedrun days, and then Mondays and Wednesdays are usually my casual days. With the holidays, this has kind of changed, and I don't always keep to that schedule just because, I'm a human being. I can't always, stream exactly when my rough schedule says I will. So I try not to commit to that too hard. But yes, generally I do Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I usually do like half in the evenings, half in the mornings. So try to, get a diverse group of people from diverse time zones.
Very fair, very fair. And what are you playing these days? Speedrunning and or not speedrunning related?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I'm doing Link's Awakening for speedruns, and I'm also probably going to start routing Giant Bear Rampage in the next month or two. It's a very, very silly, really an indie, more like a one-person developer team. The plot is the plot, quote unquote. You are a bear who wanders into a pool of toxic waste, grows to giant size, and gains mutant powers that they use to destroy entire cities with. There's like 15 stages where you're just destroying tons and tons of buildings and soldiers and things like that. It's really fun. So that'll probably be my next speedrun after Link's Awakening. As far
Certainly
as
seems on brand given that you're playing a bear.
yeah, it there's obvious reasons why it appealed to me. As far as just casual playthroughs right now, I am so I just started Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, and I am also doing a playthrough of Yakuza 0, which is one of the silliest games I've ever played in my entire life, but I love it so much. Majima and Kiryu, they're just such good protagonists, and it's so fun to sing karaoke and beat people up and wander around this, late 1980s capitalist wasteland. It's fun. It's definitely got some charm to it, and it actually takes place around the time that I was born. So it's kind of like, well, this is what was happening in Japan when I was being born. So there's definitely some personal connection to it as well. But yeah, my next casual game, I mentioned to you before we started, Abby, I just bought Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Mhm.
So I'll probably be playing that over Christmas break.
Very
And
nice.
yeah, so just a lot of fun games, too many games to count. Oh, also I've been playing a lot of Victoria 3. It's a grand strategy game where you just take a civilization that existed in 1836 and you go 100 years with them till 1936. It's meant to kind of show the change over time of the world in the Victorian age, and yeah, it definitely is super super fun if you're into things like that. I'm into really complicated, detailed simulation games, but most people aren't. So take it with a grain of salt, but I really enjoy that game.
Fair enough. And you've also been going through Mario Rabbids 2, The Spark of Hope.
I have, yeah. We've been doing that on my stream. It's kind of my casual playthrough game right now, and that's been really fun. The Mario and Rabbids series, I think, is very underrated. A lot of people probably look at it and go, Mario with guns, and there's Rabbids in it. Ew, that's not for me. But they're missing out. It is a surprisingly deep tactical RPG series.
It is absolutely fantastic. I love the first one. Haven't picked up the second one myself yet. At the time of recording, it actually won an award last night at the Game Awards for best sim. So,
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yeah, we're proud of it for doing well, and it actually beat out Victoria 3 at the Game Awards. So,
oh no.
no, I was very happy about it. Victoria 3 does not deserve Best Strategy Game of the Year. It is way too complicated and flawed for sure. It's a very glitchy game in some key ways, but we love it. We love it. But yes, Mario and Rabbids is absolutely deserving of Strategy Game of the Year.
Do you think you would speedrun that at any point?
I've thought about speedrunning the Mario and Rabbids games, but let me look up Kingdom Battles speedrun real quick. It's pretty long. I think it's around 4 hours. Yeah, main story mode any percent. World record is 3.5 hours. Looks like yeah, the run is around 4 hours. Although Donkey Kong Adventure, the DLC, the world record is only an hour and 10 minutes. So potentially I could do the DLC or something like that. But we'll see what happens. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see what happens. Abby. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of speedrunning RPGs. I love the Fire Emblem series, and I've often thought about speedrunning Fire Emblem Awakening or Fire Emblem Three Houses. But there's something about speedrunning tactical RPGs that just doesn't really do it for me. I think because I like getting into the guts of those games and
Mm.
just kind of slow running them. I'm not sure that the speedrun would appeal to me, but who can say? Who can say what will happen?
Very, very fair. Well, I would like to thank you for coming on once again. Of course, you can find Happy Bear at twitch.tv/HappyBearLives. Happy Bear on YouTube. Is that one word, by the way, for YouTube?
So it's two words actually, Happy Bear, and it helps to find me if you filter the search by channel, and that usually makes me the first result. But there's a lot of Happy Bear content on the internet that is not for me. So
Very fair. Of
yeah.
course, all the links will be down in the description here. So I will have those all linked. Any Twitter or anything?
I actually just deleted my Twitter, Abby. I
Oh no.
I don't love what the Musk man is doing over there, so I decided I didn't really want to be a part of it. So I actually don't have Twitter anymore. But I'm looking into co-host, and so I may have a co-host to promote at some point pretty soon. But we'll see.
Very
We'll
nice.
see. We'll see.
But yes, thank you again, and thank you everyone for listening, watching, wherever you may be consuming this fine episode. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much, Happy Bear.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.